I hope he doesn't get the sickness.
My boy Kurt is a stay-at-hhome dad, watching Disney movies he never had. His daughter digs through all the VHS, crushing the classics in a princess dress. Informed like Scuttle, Kurt's got your ticket, making it real like Jiminy Cricket. Most are off the Captain Hook, but if the Tweedledum, he'll be taking more shots than Bambi's mom. Leaves him raised like Simba, or cracked like the beach dishes. He'll show you a whole new world, you won't need 3 wishes. Stay-at-home Disney dad.
Wrap this up. Third period, drop the puck. D3, sepia recap montage of D1 and D2. Personally, I wish they'd go all the way up to D12. I like D2 better than D1, so we shall see where the third and final installment takes us. I said final with the tone because I think they just made a series on Disney+. Joshua Jackson is back. The hoity-toity Eden Hall welcomes the entire Duck team to their scholastic facility on full athletic scholarships. So this is Mighty Ducks the college years? Is Bombay back with Charlie's mom? Insane. Now he has to break the news that he's leaving again. He tells Charlie he's not going to coach them because he has to coach the Goodwill Games. Charlie begs him not to go. Joshua Jackson is now older and a really good actor. He loses his faith in Bombay for, what, a record 39th time? And we're under 4 minutes into this movie. We go to the team in school. The African-American kid looks around and says, not very many brothers in here. And the female goalie, Julie the Cat, is wondering about their new coach, Orion. He played for the Minnesota North Stars. They both look into the camera and say, you mean the Dallas Stars? So Charlie reconnects with the slapshotting goon Fulton. He's the only Bash brother because the other goon bailed as soon as he heard Bombay was not coaching. The goalie Goldberg rollerblades into the street, and they are late for the school pep rally where the Ducks are going to be introduced. Back at the hall, the other half of the team are in the face of some other jocks in red jackets who tell the Ducks that they don't belong in Eden Hall with the rest of the elite athletes like them. They're the varsity. They're the only hockey team. One jock's dad is on stage. He's important for some reason. He's going to get the Ducks scholarships revoked. The rest of the Ducks are rollerblading. The bumbling goalie Goldberg loses his footing, goes down a bunch of stairs, and he knocks groceries out of some poor woman's arms. About $30 worth of food smashes on the steps as he continues off balance through a sheet hanging on a clothesline. So he's like a ghost and he's blind and he's still skating. Where's the guy with the orange card? And the 2 guys crossing the street with a giant pane of glass already. Back at the school, the guy on stage says, quote, "We must never shrink from the specter of inevitable change." And as someone who is asked to MC and give speeches at live events, Curtis writes that line down on a piece of paper, and he will be using it often as a nod to D3. We must never shrink from the specter of inevitable change. One of the Ducks asks, what did he say? Something about a shrinking sphincter? The bumbling rollerblading scene is still going on. Joshua Jackson jumps an oncoming car, and then both him and goalie Goldberg jump off the side of a bridge, free fall 30 feet, and stick the landing on rollerblades without shattering all 4 of their legs. Back at school, we meet the coach who has coached the varsity team to 10 championships. The rollerbladers finally arrive, and here's the moment. Will you please welcome, coming to Eden Hall on full athletic scholarships, I present, and the rollerbladers come in from the back of the stage, get caught in the curtain, tear down the red curtain. Everyone laughs, and that was it. That was a rad entrance. You guys own that. Don't be embarrassed. But all the preppy white kids are like, stupid ducks. We see a giant ant farm for no reason except foreshadowing. The owner of the ant farm, I believe, is the dean. He addresses the Ducks and says, these ants are like the school. There's one queen and the rest are workers. You Ducks are the workers. And Goldberg says, does that make you the queen? Montage of all these idiots wearing their Duck jerseys in real classrooms, and everything being taught is going over their dumb heads. All the Ducks are getting bullied in the hallways. Charlie meets a young lady. She wants the school to change the demeaning name of the team, which is the Warriors. What year is this? Charlie asks if that is offensive compared to other team names like the Indians, the Braves, or the Redskins, or the Blackhawks. Again, what year is this? This is like someone reading Facebook aloud in 2021. She calls him a jock, and he says he's the captain of the Ducks, and she blows him off, and she wants him to sign a petition and whatever. This lady is totally like a famous actress now. I'll look her up later. Shared practice time. All the varsity kids look in their 30s, and they hate the Ducks, but there's one nice guy on the varsity team that sticks up for them, and we never see him again. All these actors look familiar, like younger versions, like I said. The Ducks practice is the cowboy guy trying to catch the rest of the team with his lasso. Now they meet the new coach, Orion. He's no nonsense. Charlie says, I'm the captain. He says, it's up to me to select a captain, and makes Charlie run laps. This is just high school, actually. Wow. Okay. Some of the Ducks are wearing regular NHL jerseys. There's the Stripes, there's the Philadelphia Flyers. I realize they wrote Emilio Estevez out of this movie with 4 minutes in. New coach benches Goldberg and makes Cat the new lead goalie. Coach also says the academy wants them to maintain a C average, but he wants them all to have Bs. Goalie Cat slowly looks down uncomfortably. And coach says, stay away from the varsity team until we play them in an upcoming game. He then posts the positions. Nowhere is where they want to be. Banks got moved up to varsity, and I jumped the gun. This is where Goldberg realizes he's actually officially the backup goalie now, and Julie the Cat's in. I'm not sure how this is going to lead to everyone turning their backs on Bombay, only to have them come back and win their trust a 67th time before they win the big championship game, but I guess we'll wait and see. Movie's young. Charlie now goes to get advice from their Wilson. Skate sharpening hands, the guy that runs the skate sharpening place. Joshua Jackson says, high school is a nightmare and I'm having a tough time wrapping my head around Joshua Jackson and how it would be like another 3 or 4 years before he starts Dawson's Creek and goes to high school for another 8 years or whatever. Goldberg is sad. He's not the main goalie anymore. One guy says, gal goalie Cat is just quicker. He says, so I should lose weight. And the other kid says, it's probably easier to get her to gain weight. And I know that's kind of indirect fat shaming, unacceptable by today's standards, but I can appreciate the cleverness of that burn/scheme. Varsity is bullying the figure skating Asian kid. Uh-oh. Petition girl wants to sit down at a table with the cheerleaders, and the cheerleader's like, oh my god, move. Okay, is that Banks? He's hitting on one of the high school cheerleaders that has to be in her 30s. It's totally Banks. She's like in 30s in her real life. She waves to her boyfriend on the varsity team, and he's going to kill Mendoza. Drops to the floor, and he crawls under the table. He crawls under there, looking up the skirts of the rest of the cheer team, sitting at that table. That fat joke doesn't seem so bad anymore. One by one, Mendoza looks up their skirts as he crawls under the table until he comes to a complete stop to the last girl. He looks up her mini skirt, then he turns to face the camera. He breaks the fourth wall and shares a moment with us, the viewers, and is like, that's one. Mighty Ducks 3. These are the good guys? What is happening? Okay, now we're running with the joke, and Goldberg bought gal goalie a whole bunch of donuts. We've gone from a pervert under the table to a guy giving a girl diabetes. He's fattening her up like Hansel and Gretel so he can get his spot back in goal. The bully varsity kids stop the Ducks and steal their lunches like they always do, but they're ready for it today. They toss the bags of brownies around and the other varsity jocks and the cheerleaders are about to eat them, and surprise, they weren't brownies at all. They were a horse crap. Of course, Disney doesn't have the guts to show them actually eating horse crap, but they throw it down and the chase is on. Now it's practice and gal goalie is puking. I don't know how I feel about this. She's puking, so Goldberg is back in net, and I workshopped a joke about her being a goalie, but also probably pregnant for like 10 minutes before giving up. Like, someone snuck one past her other goalie. Like, I know it's an impossible joke to make clever. I tried, I gave up, I apologize. Everyone is fighting to impress the coach and be named captain. They have added sound effects here, trying to get them to stop and run in place. Weird. Charlie backtalks the coach and gets benched. Averman is the teammate with the glasses that I've never liked since movie 1. And when the coach asks, what's the one great thing all teams have in common? Averman says, great coaching. And coach shuts him down and says, don't try to suck up to me. Awesome. Duck you. My autocorrect changed it to duck, and that's fitting for the first time in my life. Oh, now he's giving hockey advice that is actually life advice. Charlie goes to hit on the clipboard girl. She's Linda, and she says, I like Pantera. All right, Linda, hot opener. She hates hockey, but she's never been to a game, so he invites her to a game. Here we go. First game. The once mighty Ducks do battle with the freshman Bears. The Ducks, now Warriors, dominate the freshman Bears. Charlie scores and motions to Linda in the crowd, and she's smitten. Knuckle puck guy gets a knuckle puck goal. Goldberg tells the ref he can just end the game now with a mercy rule, and they can all go home in time to watch Melrose. First, everyone is still talking about the North Stars becoming the Stars, and now everyone is watching Melrose. This is the most 1996 thing ever. The girl who doesn't like hockey is into it, and as someone who makes a living shooting live sports but has never really been invested in sports or watching sports on my own time, it's accurate. It's easy to get caught up when you are at a live game, 100%. At the end of the second period, it's Eden Hall 9, Blake 2. Charlie's mom is cheering in the crowd. Why is she there? No offense, but what is the point of this character if she's not playing Bombay's love interest? Maybe she's going to go after Orion. Maybe Gal has a thing for coaches. Or emotionally unavailable white guys. Third period starts and the freshman Bears come back strong and the Warriors are suddenly falling apart. The Bears got like 7 goals in record time. Charlie smashes his stick on the ice and gets 2 minutes. We get a cutaway to skate sharpener Hans, who's listening to this high school hockey game on the radio and says, calm your anger and play the game. The Blake Bears are now down only 8-9, so they pull their goalie. Charlie doesn't pass. He misses the goal, and with 0 seconds left, they tie the game 9-9, and it's over. There's no overtime. Now, Charlie is the jerk of the locker room, and everyone's at each other's throats. Coach comes in hot, and he's yelling at them. He doesn't care how many goals they score. He says the only number that matters is 0, and that's how many goals will be against them if they play defense properly. The dean then tells the coach, if they don't win all their games, they could lose their scholarships. I feel like someone should probably have read the fine print on those contracts. That does not seem fair. The varsity team put all their clothes in the shower, so when they get back from practice, all their clothes are wet. So to get back, they get the portable liquid nitrogen sprayer from the science class, and they freeze the varsity clothes while the varsity's out practicing. The varsity sees their frozen clothes when they get back, and one jock snarls, ducks, and he punches his frozen shirt and it shatters. Charlie and his mom are at the diner that she still works at, and now Charlie's mom is giving him the gears. She's still talking about Coach Bombay. Yeah, she is. The varsity team warms up to the ducks and says it's tradition that they take the new team out to supper. How is this a tradition? Does a new full hockey team come each year on a multi-person scholarship? So Friday night, they all meet at this downtown steakhouse, and this totally isn't a setup for humiliation. The varsity guy gives a toast and thanks them for Banks, who now plays for varsity. And then there's one last surprise. Here we go. Banks and the rest of the varsity team leave, and then a cake comes in, along with a bill for $857, which really is actually pretty cheap for all those meals by 2021 standards. They can't pay, so the entire team is doing dishes. That's it? I mean, I don't know. I know this is Disney and all, but I was expecting this to get really dark. Okay, now they have retaliation. They are going through the dark dorm halls with spy gear and knockoff Mission Impossible music is playing. The ant farm finally comes into play. The cowboy lassoes a dumb varsity jock and hogties him, and as he's doing it, the jock offers up his arms and legs backwards so he can be hogtied properly, and I should be appalled at how fake that looks, but after watching pro wrestling most of my life, I have every reason to believe a man in that panicked position would bend his arms and legs backwards to allow himself to be put in a hold. They take and release the ants through a tube into the varsity team's beds, and I'm horrified. The varsity kids pop awake and spill out to the hall, brushing ants off their bodies, and the ducks laugh, and varsity calls them white trash, and the black kid says, "Who are you calling white?" Trash. They all agree to an unsanctioned game. The other girl on the team says, she hates tied games. It's like kissing your brother. First to 10, full contact. Varsity mows them over. 1-0 varsity. They do the V formation and get shut down. Varsity's up 2-0. They all complain about lack of defense, which is what the coach was talking about. Charlie's triple deke is stopped. It's 3-0. It devolves into a bench clear. Everyone's fighting, and the coach arrives. He kicks out varsity, and Charlie says, this isn't over. He demands they take off the duck jerseys and reminds them the ducks are dead. Charlie won't do it. He says the coach is breaking up the best thing that has ever happened to these kids. Coach says it's time to grow up. Charlie calls the coach a washed up coach who has to show off to a bunch of kids. He kicks Charlie off the team. Anyone else? Fee-fi-fo, Fulton leaves as well. Everyone else stays. Sad camera tilt to the pile of discarded duck jerseys on the ice. Charlie stops by skate sharpener Hans and complains that he's not captain anymore. Hans tells Charlie the coach just took away his letter C, not what's under it. You are the heart of the team. Hans seems in poor health. He's coughing, and Charlie's like, whatever, and bounces long, sad shot of Hans alone, and he says, goodbye, Charlie. I think Hans is about to be sent to the big penalty box in the sky. Time for some levity. Montage to the Canadian band, the Bare Naked Ladies hit song, This Is Me in Grade 9, which I don't think I've heard in 20 years. Fulton and Charlie hit the theme parks because they have nothing to do now. And then I think they get kicked out of the theme parks for looking through the garbage for food. Lucky that snappy B&L song is playing, or that would have been really uncomfortable and sad. Fulton asks what Charlie's plan is. He says, go to public school for a couple years, then go play juniors up in Canada. Fulton doesn't know if he wants to play hockey his whole life, so Charlie tells him off as well. Just whatever, Charlie's just scorching earth as he backs up. Back to the diner, and having no friends left at all, Charlie walks in on his mom crying because Hans is dead. Hans is dead. Hans is dead. Gotta go back. You gotta do it for Hans, buddy. You gotta do it for Hans. Add a fourth deke to your triple deke if you have to. Hell, Charlie, come up with an octuple deke. But Hans is dead, and Charlie is crying and sad because he misses Hans. Charlie's mom is crying and sad because she too misses Hans. Coach Bombay's Hans. Speaking of Bombay, he returns at the funeral. Emilio's agent wasn't that good. He had to come back for this scene. Bombay pulls his Ducks jersey on a casket and tells the team that every time you touch the ice, remember it was Hans that taught you how to fly. Charlie starts to cry and storms off because the funeral is all about him. We see that flat brown alarm clock everyone had in the 90s. Charlie's alarm goes off and he says to himself, 6 a.m., I didn't set the alarm. Bombay is in his bedroom and says, I did. Yeah, not creepy at all. Charlie tells him, go away, and he says he hates Coach Orion. Emilio tips Charlie out of bed, aggressive. He takes Charlie to a dark skating rink in the wee hours of the morning where Orion is taking his daughter, who's in a wheelchair, figure skating. Well, this changes everything. Bombay levels with Charlie, talks about getting drunk and arrested, and weird they don't cover this scene with actual scenes from D1. Like, they have footage of all these events, but they don't use it. Whatever. When Orion took over, Bombay told him Charlie was the real Miracle Minnesota man, the Triple M. They stroll to the streets where the Ducks are playing street hockey this early in the morning, and it's like old times. They're all playing and having fun. Charlie and the kids wear a helmet. Bombay does not. High energy montage. Time to get on the team bus, and O'Reilly is surprised to see that Charlie's back, but all is forgiven. Now the dean is on the bus, and he addresses the students that there's a board meeting tomorrow, and the Ducks are on the agenda. The board is going to withdraw their scholarships. Then it's over. The cowboy doesn't understand, so it's explained to him like this. Adios, amigos! The dean talks loudly so the entire bus can hear. The Ducks are drowning. O'Reilly says, hey, if the Ducks go, I go. And the dean's like, fine, whatever. O'Reilly is a good guy now. He had our backs, they say. The next day, they are going to rule. But wait, in walks in their legal representation. It's Coach Bombay! And he's legal talking all over the dean's. Cut away to Charlie's mom and Charlie's clipboard petition woman, and both are smiling. He calls out the snobs for not thinking the Ducks belong at Eden Hall. The inspirational music swells as he demands they reinstate their scholarships. The stuffy school board reinstates it. Off camera, we hear someone say, we have no choice. Bombay bounces, and that's it for him. Uh-oh, the varsity jocks are now in their faces. You'll never belong. The big game is on Friday, and they're going to show the world. They're going to show the world. Now Charlie is standing up to them all. Time to go to work. Another practice montage. Banks is back on the team. They rollerblade around the city picking up trash. Hashtag training. The coach says, you're not skating like warriors. You're skating like Ducks. Yeah, it's on. The Ducks are back. The quack quack cheer takes us to a slow dissolve. It's Friday's game. When varsity sees them come out in their Ducks jerseys, they're going to fall over. Someone says, someone say, this is for Hans. Someone say it. And then someone says it. Thank you. They start chanting quack. The crowd starts chanting quack. I start chanting quack because I have deep inclusion issues and will jump into any situation where I feel like I have the chance of fitting in. Puck drops, varsity smashes, the kids around again. Julie the cat in goal with a save. Charlie faces off with a varsity kid. The varsity kid asks him why he came back. Charlie snarls, unfinished business. And will they or won't they? In goal, Julie the cat makes a great save, and former goalie Goldberg, now on defense, skates up to her and says, nice save. And he taps her on the It's still 0-0 and varsity instructed to pick up the hitting, so they do. Charlie's mom, who has Justin Timberlake hair, yells, come on! There's some unfortunate Warriors foam headdresses in the crowd. That lady's petition clearly unsuccessful. More hockeys, and I'm pretty sure this epic music bed was used for some WWF promos back in the day. Paul Correa is now in the announcer's booth, and oof, there's a child actor doing color commentary who is out-acting Paul Correa, making him look like a chump. In the locker room, spirits are down, but guess who's been awarded a full scholarship and returning between periods? It's
Dean Portman.
And the goon is back. The other Bash brother is back. And the first thing he does when the third period starts is he back body drops the varsity goon through the glass. I didn't appreciate the kid on commentary until Paul Correa did his thing. And now I think this kid is incredible. The clock is ticking. The Ducks get a penalty on a dive. Dean Portman, who is played by Aaron R., who grew up and married Elsa for real, has clearly been working on his body. There's a good opportunity to show it. In the penalty box, he starts stripping and flexing for the crowd. Eat it up, buddy. Buddy's ripped. I can't hate. That's some good stuff. Too many men on the ice, and he puts out Conway, Goldberg, and Banks. And Goldberg's like, what, me? O'Reilly puts the captain's C on Charlie's jersey and says, go get him, Captain. 1 minute left. Charlie has a breakaway, and at the last second, he drops it back to Goldberg, who scores, and the Ducks win. This is pretty emotional. I've had a lot of fun at these movies' expenses, but I'll be honest. As an athlete, I have zero interest in hockey. And this kind of makes me want to play hockey. So if you were into hockey as a kid and you watched these movies as a kid, I totally get it.
Mendoza.
Max on the varsity girl's girlfriend. It's neither here nor there, but I should point out. So this is textbook romance, right? Charlie's mom says she's proud of him. Charlie looks up and Bombay is nodding at him from the crowd. The Ducks get their banner hung. The petition gal comes and Max on Charlie. Geez, Bombay silently ducks out the back door as the team celebrates on the ice. Weird overexposed shot of Charlie high-fiving Bombay in slow motion that explodes into fireworks to end the show. And end Mighty May. Okay, yeah, I begrudgingly admit these movies were a lot of fun. I thought 2 and 3 were better than 1. I'm probably in the minority there, but it is what it is. Okay, that concluded the third period. Now I gotta take this jersey back.
That's what I think about.
What do you think?
What we have is a concern about Curtis Anderson. His interviewing style is not the best. His personal appearance is not the best. I was wondering if the man has some kind of a hold over the channel that he's allowed to be employed for so long with the standards of journalism and personal appearance that